In the late 1990s, Japan was experiencing a period of technological growth and economic stability. But behind Tokyo's glittering storefronts and the cozy suburban streets were stories that would chill your blood. One such story was that of Koji Nakamura, a man who, for years, remained an invisible monster, terrorizing Saitama Prefecture and Tokyo. Koji Nakamura was born in 1968 in a quiet Saitama suburb. His childhood was no different from thousands of other Japanese boys. School, kendo club, strict parents. But behind his calm exterior hid a dark world. Neighbors remembered him as a withdrawn, odd child who often watched people with a blank stare. After finishing school, he took a job at a small logistics company. To his colleagues, Nakamura was quiet and punctual, never late and never breaking rules. But during this time, the first impulses of cruelty began to grow in him. He started collecting knives and meticulously studied reports of real killers, from Japan's sadistic murderer Miyazaki to Western serial killers like Jeffrey Dahmer. The first victim appeared in 1995. A 17-year-old girl named Mizuki Hayashi was walking home late at night when Nakamura stopped her on an empty street, pretending to be a taxi driver offering a ride. She agreed. Hours later, police found her body in an abandoned warehouse. Signs of strangulation, stab wounds, and a horrifying duct tape mask over her face. This murder shocked Saitama, but police could not find a suspect. Koji was so cautious that he left no evidence. He watched the investigation unfold on the news, feeling a strange thrill from his impunity. Over the next 2 years, Nakamura killed 4 more women. His victims were young women aged 16 to 25. He stalked them near train stations, where night pedestrians were common. The killer acted according to a clear script. First, he offered them a ride or help. Then, he drugged his victims using fake sedatives mixed into their drinks. After that, he transported them to a rented garage on the outskirts. Each murder became more brutal. He left symbolic marks on the bodies, carving crosses into their skin and cutting pieces of fabric from their clothes, which he kept at home as trophies. These trophies became his obsession, and he recorded every detail in his journal, calling his victims dolls. The police formed a special investigation unit. At first, the murders were not connected, but the strange wounds on the bodies and the identical strangulation methods pointed to one killer. The media dubbed him the Shadow of Saitama, which only fueled his ego. At the time, Japan was still reeling from infamous cases like Tsutomu Miyazaki, the child killer of the late 80s, so authorities wanted to avoid new panic. But each new victim made the situation unbearable. In 1998, Nakamura made his first mistake. After killing a Tokyo student, he threw her bag into a landfill. Inside was a bus ticket with his fingerprint. Police began checking all warehouse and garage owners in the region, and soon came across the name Koji Nakamura. Surveillance on him lasted nearly a month. Investigators saw him enter his garage with large bags and leave empty-handed. When the police finally obtained a search warrant, they were ready for the worst. In the garage, they found a true museum of horror. On the shelves were neatly folded personal belongings of the victims. Wallets, pieces of clothing, even hair tied into bundles. On the wall hung photographs of women taken in the final minutes of their lives. In the refrigerator, police found human tissue carefully wrapped like store-bought meat. It was a moment that made even seasoned investigators shudder. Nakamura did not resist arrest. He calmly said, "I knew you would come." During interrogations, he acted strangely. He spoke of his victims as works of art, justifying his actions by saying he wanted to stop time. His confessions shocked the nation. He admitted to 7 murders, but police suspected there were more. He kept a detailed diary describing his emotions during the killings, but some of the dates didn't match known cases. The trial of Koji Nakamura began in 2000. Every day, the courtroom was packed with journalists, victims' families, and people who came just to see the face of the monster. Nakamura showed no emotion. Even when horrifying photos and evidence were presented, he sat calmly, as if it had nothing to do with him. His lawyers tried to prove he was insane, but psychiatric evaluations found him sane. The court sentenced him to death by hanging. The story of Nakamura became one of the most talked about cases in Japan. His name was forever added to the list of the country's most terrifying criminals. After his execution, his garage was demolished, and the site was paved over. But locals still say that at night, strange sounds can be heard there, as if someone is rustling bags or opening a refrigerator. Koji Nakamura became a symbol of how evil can hide behind the most ordinary face. Neighbors still can't believe that the quiet guy from the street was a brutal killer. The story of the Shadow of Saitama changed the way Japanese police investigate serial crimes, and it left a deep mark on culture. Several books and documentaries were made about him. What's your take on this case? Share your thoughts below and subscribe so you don't miss the next story.